And today, in fact, Donald Trump was at the Faith and Freedom Conference in Washington, D.C. And as soon as you hear faith and freedom, you know that everybody associated with the Faith and Freedom Conference who put it together is pretty much full of shit. And everybody that attended the Faith and Freedom Conference pretty much has not figured out yet that they are full of shit. And I suspect, and I'm afraid that they probably never will. But he was at this event today, and boy, did he have some doozies. You could tell when things really get under the skin of Donald Trump that he just can't let things go. If he sounds dumb or if people are making fun of him for something, it eats him up so much that he can't wait to go back out to one of these conferences and explain himself. And I'm going to play a couple of clips here. The first one is regarding Hannibal Lecter. He's brought up Hannibal Lecter for some very bizarre reason. I still, even after listening to the clip I'm about to play, have no idea what the context is. I don't understand why he keeps bringing it up. I don't know if he thinks that the crowd thinks that it's expected. And even if it is, why? I'm still not clear on this. But he brings up Hannibal Lecter here and tries to get the crowd involved. And in fact, I do believe there almost is part of a crowd that is involved in the laughing and playing along to make it look like Donald Trump has been joking this entire time. But you guys can kind of judge for yourself.
Institutions and insane asylums, because actually there's more than a slight difference, right? Whenever I say Silence of the Lamb, the fake news back there, they say, oh, he's talking about Silence of the Lamb. And I say, the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Oh, he likes Hannibal Lecter. No, they're crazy. When I imitate Joe Biden can't get off the stage, I walk into a wall purposely. I look at that wall. Oh,
that's all over the place.
That's perfect. Sometimes they don't have a wall. You're freestanding. It doesn't. But I imitate him, and I walk into a wall, and the next day they write, Donald Trump could not find his way off the stage. No. So I don't even do it anymore. These are crooked people.
Yeah, that whole speech pretty much walked right into a wall. I mean, I get the making fun of Biden thing at this point now. We know we're going to hear that, and that's just part of that's a staple thing at every one of his rallies, which, in some respects it may work, but I don't know if that gets you the presidency of the United States. In fact, I suspect that it's not going to, but of course we're going to see. But, you could tell he's self-conscious about being made fun of for this Hannibal Lecter thing. And then, of course, he does the fake news people back there. When I say it, they're saying this and they're saying that. And, they're not saying it because they're crazy. They're saying it because you're crazy. And you'll never know that. He will never know that. And most of the people in his audience is not going to know that. But we do. And I think that's probably why he's going to have a very tough time, obviously not winning the presidency. I think he's going to also have a tough time at the debate this week, if in fact he does show up. But next clip, he doubled down on the old electric shark and boat story that was incredibly confusing. And I really do believe this is what got him the most. This is why he could not wait to hold this rally, because this one's fresher. This one is more new. And he did get blasted by a lot of people because it really was one of the most incoherent, ridiculous, stupid things I've ever heard anybody. Forget about running for president of the United States. Just anybody trying to get you on their side for any reason. I still don't understand what he's talking about, but he makes an attempt to clear it up, and he might have just made it worse.
Now they'll say, oh, these stories are terrible. Well, these stories are, you heard my story in the boat with the shark, right? I got killed on that. They thought I was rambling. I'm not rambling. They want to make boats, and they are demanding that they be all battery operated, all electric. And I was in South Carolina at this wonderful family boatyard, the big yard make a lot of boats, from 17, like fishing boats, 17 to 30 feet. And I said, how's everything going? No good. They want us to go all electric. I said, well, would that work? No, because it's so heavy, we can't get the boat to float. The battery is so heavy.
First of all, before he goes on with this, that conversation, this just did never happen. He's making this up as he goes along. That is not a conversation that two people had, and especially him. But here comes the explanation of why he decided to do a sequel to his shark boat nonsense.
So then I start talking about asking questions, I had an uncle who was a great professor at MIT for many years.
Still don't know what that means.
Tenure ever, very smart, had 3 different degrees. And, so I have an aptitude for things. There is such a thing as an aptitude. I said, well, what would happen if this boat is so heavy and started to sink and you're on the top of the boat? Do you get electrocuted or not? In other words, the boat is going down and you're on the top.
Real quick, here comes the laugh track, basically. Here come the people in the background that are going to laugh. So now it can make it look like Donald Trump was just joking the whole time. Still don't understand the joke, but you can hear the laughter coming.
Will the electric currents flow through the water and wipe you out? And let's say there's a shark about 10 yards over there. Would I have to immediately abandon, or could I ride the electric down? And I said, sir, nobody's ever asked us that question. But, sir, I don't know. I said, well, I want to know, because I guarantee you one thing. I don't care what happens. I'm staying with the electric. I'm not getting over with it. So I tell that story. It's, just fun. And the fake news, they go, he told this crazy story with electric. It's actually not crazy. It's sort of a smart story, right? Sort of like, it's like the snake. It's a smart. When you figure what you're leaving in, right? You're bringing it in. The snake, right? The snake. And the snake, I tell that.
There's
and they do the same
applause. Yeah, man. You could just tell he's really in his feelings here, and he got his feelings hurt about the story he told about the shark and the electricity, and he doubles down on it. He tries to tell it again. And my guess is that the sequel is not going to be any better than the original, and he's going to get blasted for this. But, just when you didn't think he could top himself, I'm just going to let the clip, speak for itself here. But he starts off the clip by calling his people stupid, and then says something really stupid.
And my stupid people, when I wanted to refute it, they said, sir, don't dignify it with a rebuttal. Refutal or a rebuttal? What the hell word would that be? Rebuttal? What they'll say, he didn't know, rebuttal or refutal, but they don't know either. Sir, it should not be dignified, sir. I said, well, I got to fight that. That's the worst thing you could probably say to me would be that. He said, sir.
Yeah, that's a guy that's running for president of the United States and is close to winning. He obviously mixed up the words rebuttal, refute, refutal. And once he realized that he mixed them up and he was sort of stuck, then he tried to make a joke out of it. He tried to say other people didn't know what that word was either when he asks, is it this or is it that? First of all, he didn't talk to anybody that said rebuttal, because I can't imagine. Well, maybe people around him are that stupid, but, I don't know. This is concerning. This is interesting. And what really irritates me is that every week leading up to the debates, I always have to listen to whether or not Joe Biden's going to be able to get through it. Is Joe Biden going to be able to even stand through this thing? Will he not dribble all over himself? And again, they keep setting these expectations very low for Joe Biden, which in a way is a really good thing because he always shines through. He always, every single time you think he's not going to be able to get through something, he gets through it just fine. And I think it's almost ingrained on the people who love Joe Biden that this time it's going to be scary. I mean, I know he got through the other ones, but this time we got to be careful. And you know what? He's going to do fine on Thursday night. And what's going to happen in that debate if it indeed does happen. And as we're getting closer, we might have to start realizing that maybe this will happen. So if it does happen, first of all, it's happening so early, way before the election, that I've said this a million times. As time goes on, especially in this news cycle that we have right now, whatever happens in this debate, unless something just unbelievable happens to either candidate, time's going to go on. People are going to forget about it, and nobody will be talking about it. It's just human nature in the political world anymore. Things are moving so fast, and so many different things that are happening now. You just move on to the next thing. So, but going back to my original point, Joe Biden's going to be fine Thursday night. He will do a great job. I have absolutely no doubt about that. I hear reports about Donald Trump and whether or not he's even really preparing for this debate. He doesn't think he has to. But if he does, that maybe the route is to stay calm and not look like a psychopath. So basically, we've gotten to a point where we have two candidates where one, if he could just make it through the whole time without having dementia, that's a win for that candidate. And the other one is if he can get through it without sounding like a psychopath, that's a win for him. So, not the greatest outlook in the world, but at the end of the day, I still love Joe Biden. I think he's done a phenomenal job, and I think he's going to crush him at the debate. But again, we'll move on. And even if he does crush him, we're gonna go through just again the regular news cycle, and every little thing that happens, one little thing could happen to Joe Biden that could wipe out completely what happened at the debate if people did say he won, just because, just like the State of the Union. Everybody said he did a phenomenal job at the State of the Union, but then time goes on, you have this fake story about him wandering off, and now people are focused on that and completely forgot about the State of the Union. So that's what I suspect is going to happen with the debate. One last clip here. Donald Trump was sitting down with Sean Spicer. I didn't, his ex-press secretary. I didn't know he had some kind of show. But what a perfect person to interview Donald Trump, because he is maybe one of the greatest yes men of all time, down on his knees and bowing to Mr. Trump, whatever he says. And I'll recall he was the original, he had the biggest crowd, bigger than everybody, is the biggest crowd, and like literally yelling at the press his first day on the job. And people were like, what the fuck is going on? And that was sort of the beginning of what to expect with a Donald Trump presidency, if we didn't already know it was going to be crazy. But that's basically how it started. But anyway, he's rambling on here about airports that I don't even know. Again, listen.
Airports where flights are being delayed 4 days, where people are pitching tents in an airport because their flight is so, it's never going to even happen. We've never had problems like this. What you're seeing in the last 2 years, we've never seen anything like it. And we become like, we are a failing nation. We've become a third world nation in many ways. Our elections are third world, in my opinion. Our airports are being run so badly. It's so badly. It's not.
When you say our elections are third world and you have a guy shaking his head yes at you, again, the greatest yes man of all time, to call our elections third world, that is, forget about the election being stolen. That is awful enough. But to call it third world now is just so egregious. And the fact that anybody could look at this pathetic excuse of a human being and vote for him is way beyond me. But let's listen.
Even conceivable. People go, the other night I had somebody going to the airport, and they called up 2 days later to tell me that they've never gotten out. I said, but where are you? Still at the airport. And it was like 2 days before. And this is common now. And
okay, there's another conversation that never happened. Somebody wasn't at the airport and called Donald Trump and said, I'm still stuck here. I got to fucking build a tent. I've been to plenty of airports over the year, and I have not seen literally one tent in an airport. So this is just stuff he's spewing. And again, this is a testament of how stupid, and I think it's fair to say, stupid his supporters are. I was going to say how stupid he thinks they are. But if you're continuing to vote for him after listening to that garbage, we might have to chalk it up to you're stupid, at least on a political sense. You may be smart in some of the things that you do in life, and there are some places for you that you maybe know a lot more than I do. But when it comes to sort of the political world and how things work, if you are believing and you go around and start telling people that I was listening to Donald Trump on Sean Spicer, and he's reporting now that airports are loaded up with tents because airplanes can't even get out anymore, you would think that that would be a gigantic story. Usually anything involving airports and airplanes, if there is a disaster with either one, you're going to hear about it. I've not heard one story of any tent, forget about tents, tent being pitched in a fucking airport because the planes can't get out. So again, this is just such, I can't wait. I really can't wait until all this is over. I can't wait until November when Biden pretty much lays down the brutal beating that I really do believe is coming. Again, we all need to get out there and vote. We all need to sit. We still need to continue to pay attention. But boy, oh boy, when this is all over, I at least the Trump part of it, I'll be very excited.